Hey, welcome back, everybody. I thought it might be a fun time for scary ghost stories at the cornerstone of Halloween. How are you, Liz?
Oh, I'm so excited for the big day.
I bet you are excited. Lots of candy at your house, lots of candy everywhere. But I wanted to see what kind of ghost stories could we bring forth for Halloween. People always want to know about what happened in the past and what those people are doing now. And that's kind of a theme that we're still uncovering. This is the story of the Mary Celeste, one of the most enduring mysteries in maritime history, when its crew was completely they disappeared. No one knows what happened to them.
Oh,
But we are going to figure out with Liz Cross what happened to them. It was a fateful night. It became deserted. I think it left in like the late November, November 25th, 1872, 10 days earlier. And it was, anyway, the ship is gone. Here's the captain. And I wanted to give the captain an idea if he could tell us what happened that fateful night of why did the Mary Celeste go missing?
why did the Mary Celeste go missing?
Oh,
It
wait a
was
minute.
hijacked.
Oh, here's the Benjamin Briggs as the apparently captain. We'll pull him up there. Hijacked by whom? They didn't take the alcohol. They didn't take anything else.
They didn't take the alcohol. No, no. They were looking for a very important person that they believed to be on that ship that was worth a lot of money, and they took them all as hostages.
Well, what happened to them? And who was this person that came on board the ship and ransomed them or kidnapped them?
Who were they that came on board the ship? They were pirates. And
Arr.
I love Halloween pirates. Who like and then what happened? They tried to convince them that this person was not on the ship. They didn't believe them. There was a major language barrier. So where were they from? Where were these pirates from? They were from somewhere. I mean, there was a major language barrier. Um, and where was the ship exactly? Where did this happen? Was it
Uh,
shortly after? Sorry,
it
go
was
ahead.
adrift along the Atlantic Ocean by the Canadian brigantine De Gracia, about 400 nautical miles from the Azores.
Was it drift there? Yes, it was but it was hijacked shortly after they set sail. There was all this news, and who was this person that was allegedly on the ship? It was some major business tycoon that was running goods back and forth by a ship, and his daughter. And what happened when they boarded the
Well,
ship and they found
this
out that it wasn't?
this is his wife and daughter, the captain, Sophia and
Oh,
Sarah down here. And did they confuse Sophia and Sarah for this tycoon magistrate's wife and daughter?
did they? Oh, I see. Did they confuse your wife and your daughter as the tycoons? Yes. So that's interesting because they just didn't believe them. They didn't want the goods. They did not want the goods. They didn't want to deal with transporting them. They didn't want to deal with selling them and making, chump change. They were after the big, big money. They wanted, I mean, as much as they could possibly grab, and they were going to hold these people. They were going to hold them for ransom, is
Did
what
they
he's
kill
saying.
any of the
But
other hostages?
sorry, what did you say?
Did they kill any of the other hostages? Andrew Gilling, Edward Head, Volker Lawrenson, Arian Martins, Boy Lawrenson, and Gottlieb Gardenschnall.
What happened to everyone? They killed them all. They killed them.
And they
They
also
didn't
killed
believe them.
Albert
They didn't believe
Richardson.
them. Hmm?
And did they kill the captain, Ben Briggs and his wife and daughter also?
Did they kill you? Yes. Yes, they did. Because they realized in the end that it was all a big mistake. And now all of these people were a liability, right? That these pirates would end up being in prison somewhere. They were a liability. And these pirates, they did this all the time. They would kidnap, they would steal things. Um, this is not the first time they've done this.
What were
And
the pirates'
somehow,
origins?
what are the pirates' origins? Were they from Europe? No, no. What language did they speak? Hmm. They spoke patois.
What?
Patois.
I don't know what that is or where that's from.
Patois is like a local native dialect in Caribbean countries. They
Oh,
spoke a form of patois. So for instance, there's and each Caribbean country has their own real patois. So like St. Lucia has like a mixture of French and English. Jamaican has their own patois. Was it Jamaican? No, where was it from? I feel it could have been Cuban patois, but it was their own dialect, their own language.
and so by killing this crew, did they then solidify some type of anchor with them as soul recompense or karmic debt?
Was this like a past life karmic debt? No. The captain is saying no, not from the past, but in the future, will they have to pay for this? Absolutely.
Have they yet?
Have they yet? No. They're
And
still working out all the details.
is Benjamin Briggs and Sarah Briggs and Sophia Briggs, are they all still connected in a soul family? And have they reincarnated?
Are you all still? Oh, absolutely. They're always connected. Have you reincarnated? Yes, they have reincarnated once. And again, were you? Yes, they were killed again.
What is the lesson to be learned in writing your soul contract if you set it up to be murdered?
What is the lesson in writing into your soul contract if you set up to be murdered? Well, they see it just as an exit point, but why? Well, for them, interestingly enough, they like to leave at the same time. Okay. They don't want any of this lingering around on the earth plane. One leaves, the others have to suffer. They don't do that. They don't play that game for now, as a soul family. They all want to go at once. And is it always just you two and the daughter? No, sometimes there's a boy, but the boy skipped out on that lifetime. But they like to leave at the same time. But why then murder? Like there's other ways to leave at the same time. Well, he's saying, yes, Liz, you're right. And I'm saying, yeah, okay, so what about the time when you reincarnated back in? Was that World War One? No, World War Two that took you out in World War Two. Yes, so the lifetime after the Mary Celeste, what they were killed in a bombing in World War Two, but they always leave together.
Does that make the soul bond stronger, or does that not allow the souls individually to grow?
Ooh, that's a good question. Does that make the souls bond stronger? I think it's a fear-based decision. What I'm getting is they're scared to have to deal with the earth plane by themselves. And I'm saying, but even when you were born here, oh, but we still had our soul families, as in our parents, right? Or grandparents, so that they're never alone. And I'm like, well, as a soul then, or as this soul family that you are, I mean, do you think that you're acting out of fear? Absolutely. They don't want to be on the earth plane, isolated and alone.
And how many lifetimes of incarnations as humans have they had? Oh, I guess we'll say it with Benjamin Briggs, and then we'll ask his daughter and his wife also.
Benjamin Briggs, how many lifetimes have you had as a human? Ooh, gosh, about 400. And the wife, three in the 300s, and the daughter is 500, would you believe?
I would not. So that tells me what is the pair bonding? What is it doing? Is it hindering their ability to reach ascension? Because most beings that we recognize and identify and communicate with have like a stair step ascension level. And so at 500 lifetimes, we'd expect them to be the third, fourth level on the step to ascension. Where are they?
Are you all on the same step? Yeah, they're exactly on the same step. They're on, what are you on? Step 2? They're just into step 3, but they're moving slowly because they're really so solid in the earth plane existence that I think that this process, this pact that they've made to never leave one another, which is very, very nice, by the way. Um, this pact that they've made is really slowing their ascension down.
Possibly. That could possibly be true. Can they do anything on the God plane to move themselves closer to ascension? Or is it only work that can be done down here on the earth plane?
Is there anything you can do on the God plane to move towards ascension? No, I'm getting a no. It's only here on the earth plane.
And so what do they just want to ride it out and go slowly, or are they is there a desire to ascend, or do they not have that desire?
Is there a desire to ascend? Oh, absolutely. They're very enthusiastic about ascension. But sorry, what was the other question?
What do they think about the mind wipe that happens when we reincarnate? And we can ask either
Hmm.
Benjamin Briggs or his wife. Maybe his wife would have a better idea, Sarah Briggs.
And
Or
just
maybe if she
so,
has Sophia, since she's at 500.
okay. Um, let's ask. And if you're wondering how we got to this point in the recording or in the video, it's because this morning we had an Amazeballs CTT session where we worked on understanding the mind wipe, and this is leading us into an exploration of the mind wipe. So the question for Sophia is, what do you think about the mind wipe? It doesn't bother her. It's necessary in order to live and create, she says, each and every lifetime with a new, fresh outlook and a pathway to ascension.
Does she think it'd be better if we knew what happened in our past so we could more easily evolve in this lifetime?
Did you think it would be better if we knew what happened in the past so we could easily evolve in? She says no. She's okay with it. She's comfortable with the not knowing. So I have to ask this question. Now that we're tapping into you as Sophia, you've even had a lifetime post Sophia. How do you feel about having to retrace back to the lifetime of Sophia? She goes, oh, I love it. And I'm saying, but you have access to that information now. Oh, absolutely. But when you're down here on the earth plane, that's all wiped.
What does she think that people could be able to do in order to more readily accept or recognize or engage with their past life memories, their past life lessons, their past life experiences?
What do you think that people could do to engage with their past life memories? She says you have to graduate to a certain level of consciousness here on the earth plane to actually be able to access your past life memories, even if it's through yourself or through a modality. There are certain hoops, energetic hoops, and levels you have to get through to access that.
Can she elaborate on that a little bit more? What are those hoops and what are those energy levels and how do people listening achieve them?
How do people listening achieve those? It's the understanding that it's not just about you, but it's about the world as a whole. It's something greater than yourself. And when you have that perception wholeheartedly, not half-heartedly, wholeheartedly, right? You've embraced it, you've accepted it, and now you're wanting to explore more. That's when you will be allowed to access or find a modality to access that information. It's by permission only. But I have another question for her then, because a lot of children actually remember their past lives,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And they're just good.
Even my little one a week ago was talking about when he had 5 children. And I'm going, what were their names? Well, I had, 2 girls and 3 boys. And I was really trying to eke it out of him in a nice and pleasant way. And he clearly was remembering something about his past life. And then when I asked him a few more questions, he finally says, oh, it's gone now. Right. So children have a glimpse into their past lives and they talk about it. So why is it that they're allowed to have that glimpse and yet their consciousness, they don't even understand who they are, let alone what this is, how they fit into the world? Why is it children have access to that past life? And she says, well, it's because they're not far from the God plane. So they're still accessing memories of being on the God plane. So are you saying that when we come down here, then basically we're not completely shut off? Are you saying that? Well, she's saying yes, that's correct. So as children, some of us are not completely shut off from accessing that information, but as our brain is growing and as we become more individualized, then that information shuts down. So then that leads me to ask this question. So is it because when we embrace the idea that we're not really such an individual after all, that we're part of the collective, is that why this information is then opened back up to us? And she says precisely.
And so
Hmm.
there's no modality she can suggest specific to each person. It's going to be unique to each person.
Is it unique to yes, it's whatever resonates. So yes, it is unique to each person.
And so over the 500 life, I find it ironic we're talking to a 2-year-old about ascension and reincarnation, but we're here we are.
Right.
Um, in her 500 lifetimes, which does she feel was the most uh, that propelled her soul and ascension process forward the most?
What do
And
you
what were the
think?
circumstances? And
What was the thing that propels your ascension the most? Which lifetime? Now, this is going way back before she hooked up with the captain and his wife, right? Um, but it was too hard. And I'm saying, well, what were you? What happened? She was a tiger, but she wasn't very good at hunting. She was abandoned somehow by her mother, which wasn't the captain's wife. This was another mother. And I'm saying, is this why you chose a different soul family? She said, yeah. I was tired of doing the same old thing where I came to the earth plane, something would happen to my mother, I was abandoned, I would have to fend for myself. And what happened during that lifetime as the tiger? Well, it was brutal. She says it was brutal. I was in a lot of fights. I was all alone. I ended up having cubs of my own. I didn't know really how to care for them. I was constantly attacked. But on the other side, you said you grew the most. Yes, she did, because it was one of her most challenging lifetimes.
Well, I was talking about as a human. So, how many lifetimes did you have as an animal that propelled you into a human lifetime? And I'm trying to figure out towards ascension and towards betterment of being a human for everyone out there listening. What challenges and struggles did you face as a human in a human lifetime of those 500 plus lifetimes that you think made you better and stronger and more adaptable on your road to expanding your soul?
Mhm. Yeah, let's see. What about on the human level? The human level, there was one where, is this with the captain's wife? Yes. There was one where the mother was very ill. And again, they all passed at the same time. But it was very ill, and it was very difficult to try to care for her very sick mother. Um, where you should be dependent upon your mother as a young child, she had to look after her mother. Something happened after the childbirth that caused her mother to become paralyzed, and the mother was bedridden. And when the child was able to walk and talk, she says that's when her father would have to go earn money. He did hard labor, and she would have to look after the mother. And that meant like cleaning her up, bringing her water, getting her food, and really having to do everything herself. Now, something happened in that lifetime. I feel that that lifetime was in Europe, she's telling me. And somehow their village was burned down or attacked. And again, they all left at the same time. But that was a very difficult lifetime for her, for all of them, for the mother as well, because the mother felt helpless, and she didn't feel entitled to the care. She felt helpless. And she felt that she was putting a massive burden on this small toddler to look after her and to basically raise herself.
Let's see if I can ask a question of Sarah Elizabeth Briggs. And I wanted to ask Sarah if she could tell us where in our matrix does the memory, the events, everything that happened in our past lives live? Is it genetic? Is it matrix related? Is it energetic?
Do our past lives live within the human body? Yes. Okay. At the seat of the soul. Okay. All right. So, and do we have to search outside to find that information? No, you should never be searching outside. But I'm saying, okay, that's not accurate, because sometimes you have to channel your loved ones in spirit to find out that information. They can tell you that as well. But she's saying, no, if you want to do regression, you have to tune into yourself. Like that has to come from you and not the matrix.
So internally, if we're turning into ourself, our physical body, or are we turning into an external force outside of our physical body?
Are we turning into a physical force inside? It's energy. It's an energy. It's like a memory bank. It's very minute, and it sits within the soul. How large is the soul anyway within the body, the energy of the soul? It's about a golf ball size. Um, and that's located in the back of the solar plexus.
What percentage of the soul do we carry with us through our incarnation, and what percentage is still up on the God plane?
What percentage of the soul do we carry with us through our incarnation? How much? Wait a minute. What percentage of the soul do we carry with us through our incarnation? About 90%. And what percentage is, and about 10% is spread out.
Is there a way to de-seat the soul from the physical body while it's still alive?
Ooh, is there a way to de-seat the soul from the physical body while it's still alive? Yes, you die.
Well, I wanted to keep the body alive. I wanted to remove the soul and I wanted to put in, just trying to figure out where that tether is for the soul in the physical body.
Do we have control? This is like the movie, isn't it? Do we have control to take out our soul and then let it travel and do whatever and then put it back in? No, we do not have that control. Okay, we have control over the consciousness. So if the consciousness wants to astrally travel, that's fine. But we do not have control over, uprooting the soul and doing what we want with it. That is specifically controlled by what? By source.
All right. Well, Benjamin Briggs, Sarah, Sophia, everybody out there listening, we really appreciate you. And thanks for joining Liz Cross and I. And we wish you all a happy Halloween.
Oh, yes. Happy Halloween, everyone. Thank you. Mr. Reality has a tip jar down below. He came up with this probe all by himself. So thank you.